Hi, and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and I've got my beautiful wife Kirsten with me again today. Today, we're talking about the OA Part 2, and we're talking spoilers. So, if you haven't seen our review for the OA Part 2 without spoilers, then go and watch that. If you don't want any spoilers, so spoilers.
Don't watch this if you haven't seen it yet. Go watch that first. I mean the OA, not our review. Go watch the OA, then come watch this and join in the conversation.
Also, watch our review.
And what? Okay, whatever.
Thanks so much for those of you who did watch our review and have requested a spoiler talk. So we thought we'd talk a little bit of the things that we never did get to talk about in our review, non-spoiler one, because there are things that kind of just went and kind of blew my mind. We're not going to talk about everything, all 8 episodes.
Way too much.
There's so much, but there are certain characters and key points that I would love to discuss with you guys. Maybe get down in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts on some of those things that we're going to discuss right now. Because one of the big new things that they kind of revealed in the storyline was that OA has a brother that protects her apparently in every universe, which also kind of suggests that she's been to more universes than the one that she originally, where we got to find out that they could travel.
Yeah.
So Kareem
Washington, the sort of private investigator, ex-FBI agent, really cool dude, who we get introduced to. It turns out in one of the episodes further along in the season that he is her brother, and that was a bit of a surprise, because it makes you think back to the first season and think, where was he in that? Like, who was he? Which character was her brother, and why didn't we know about it? Yeah,
they don't actually discuss the fact that they are brother and sister in this.
But are they? I mean,
like,
that's
how can they be? So what does that mean? Where have they traveled along the timeline where
Yeah.
they once were, or what sense of brother and sister are they? Maybe it's mystical or magical in some form of the tree, the universal tree of traveling, that they are known as brother and sister, because they never explain, like,
No,
what does that mean?
No, I think there's so much in this series that is never explained, that I would love to discuss, because it's, as I was saying to Ruben earlier, it's like, if you just sit down and allow this to just wash over you, just watch it and allow your thoughts to sort of mull over things, but don't think too deeply, then you're kind of like, this is amazing, this is the best thing ever. But when you really start to think about it and start to try and like unpick it and unpack it and figure out how the universe works and how all of this fits together, like all of the puzzle pieces, then you start to feel confused, frustrated, and begin to think that there are big plot holes that haven't necessarily been filled. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be filled in the future. And I think it's important to just keep an open mind. Yeah. I would love to talk about the ending.
Okay.
Because I feel like it was brave and stupid at the same time. It's like, you see that it's all a set and you're like, what? So does this mean that none of it is real? Or is all of it real and this is just another universe where it's not real, but it is still real? So you've got like this Inception meets the Truman Show thing going on, which I thought was brave.
Good morning, good evening, and good night.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
And I thought it was a film set, and they were in another universe, and they were just actors, and they were going to that. It was weird. It did take me back a bit.
In 5, 4, 2.
Going back to Kareem, so he's almost the other protagonist for this new world.
I thought he was very good.
He's very good, and so you follow his adventure. He's trying to figure out what the house is, and he's trying to rescue. He's tasked with rescuing. Is it Michelle?
Michelle, yeah.
He's tasked with rescuing Michelle, and so he has to figure out all these puzzles, which are so weird. But what is the house?
What is the house?
Because there's this tribe that have been on that land before, and when this couple find the house, they decide, instead of destroying it, well, one wanted to destroy it, the other one wants to build puzzles in it to stop people from using its power. There's obviously a gateway, a portal, because we see that.
Yeah.
But it's so much more. Because how you enter the house determines how far you get into the house, and whether you can get to that, like, the ultimate final puzzle moment. And then those that are confronted with the final puzzle moment kind of lose their mind and either die or are comatose, or are like that one kid who was just messed up so badly? Or is it just poison?
Because of the gas.
The gas.
Natural gas. I think that's one of the things that I love and hate about this program. Is that just when you think you figured it out, it could be that you haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
So it's like it could be this, but equally it could be that.
It does keep you guessing.
It really does, which is kind of fun actually for a series to make you think as much as this one does.
Let's talk mystical, fantastical creatures. My favorite episode,
Yes.
because when I saw it, it blew my mind, and then it leads me to thinking, what else are we going to see in future series? Because they're pulling on another thread of things that they could do. So we could have fantastical creatures depending on the universe we go to. Universe. I keep saying universe. Depending on the dimension,
timeline,
wherever they're going, whatever they're traveling to. So this time around, we got this really wicked giant octopus.
Yeah.
Who?
Old Night.
Yeah. What a great name.
I know.
Like Old Night. Like, I want to know. And he talked about them as a species, and he was speaking for them, and he wrapped his tentacles around OA. And he touched her, that I thought was a little bit iffy, because he was going, and then her dress fell to one side, and I was like, "Whoa, there!
What are you doing?
Where are you going with that?"
Take that tentacle
But
away.
just the fact that they did that, and he knew of her, so like he knew that she was different. This was not Nina. He knew it was OA, and she had to tell. So
and
my
then
mind
he
went.
went and got freaking killed before he could tell us all the secrets of the universe.
He was immediately my favorite character.
Yeah.
Like in that episode, I was like, I so want to know more about that. And then
Yeah.
they've just killed it off. But
Yeah.
it does lead me to think they could do so much more in this vein. I loved every moment of that. That kind of flicked all my switches.
And then there was the wind.
Oh my gosh.
The wind and the trees
the
blurring
trees.
in the trees. And then you were like,
Man, the happening.
it's the happening.
I
no.
said to my wife Kirsten that some might really hate this because it's reminiscent of the film The Happening that was directed by M. Night Shyamalan. That's kind of synonymously hated by everyone because it was such a blah story what they did with it. So here we
I
have.
didn't think it was that bad, but I may get into trouble for saying that.
Yeah, it's hated.
Okay.
It's really hated. And so you got the trees waving, and it's like, the world says that you've hurt us, and now we're going to hurt you back. So everybody dies by wind and pollen and stuff. And here there were trees talking and waving and talking to each other. I actually think it was much more believable in this.
Yeah.
Because they're referencing the root system of the universe, and that's kind of how it impacts and how we understand it. And the fact that the trees is representative of life, and they're all talking to each other. I buy that
Yeah.
in a OA sort of way.
Yeah.
Let me know if that reminded you of The Happening. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I'm scarred.
For life.
So there is this new character that we kind of need to talk about, because she suggests that she's been doing it way before everybody else. That she's got
She's a
this down.
traveler,
She knows
yeah.
how to do it. She doesn't need to do the moves. And then she helps Hap,
Yeah.
and then she helps away, sort of.
So she claims the only reason that she helped Hap was so that she could help OA, because she has to keep things in balance. Frankly, I think she got that a little bit wrong, because she
really helped Hap.
really, really helped Hap, and she kind of hinted at some stuff with OA. One thing that I thought was really interesting was obviously her teeny tiny little box robots that opened up and did the little dance thing for her with their little mechanical arms, which I thought was very cool. How, in the space of like a day or two, did Hap end up with giant ones at his laboratory? Did he have one of those machines where it's like, Miracle Grow, you just...
Miracle Machine Grow.
Yeah, because he took one, remember he got his fingers caught in it so that he could open it up, obviously, reverse engineer it, figure out how it worked and build his own. But he was so busy dealing with OA and all of the, stuff that was going on around his own circumstances. How did he suddenly have 5 giant ones?
Yeah, because
That's just one little thing that bothered me.
They did suggest that not much time had passed.
No.
If there had been a sequence where they're like, and a week
Months.
and a month, and he doesn't have a robotics team,
No,
so that's like
he's a psychiatrist.
That's a pretty intelligent design, the really intricate has to be moved. You need programmers. You know, there's so much
Yeah.
that will go into that. And like we said earlier, we're probably now dissecting it too much. We're meant to just go, okay, but it does kind of stand out.
Maybe he called his billionaire friend.
Yeah, maybe he did. And he said, I got
Yes.
these designs, we're doing that, and so now we're going to build these giant versions, and now I'm going to go traveling.
Yes, traveling.
But that is the worst thing you could do for that character, Hap. Like, why give him the ability to not use anybody? He can just travel wherever he wants now. That's basically what he's going to do in the next world. He's like, ah, yes, robot hands.
So another key question that I'd love your thoughts on is the woman that we were just talking about, the one who is the traveler who, you know, seems to have this whole thing down, and she travels from place to place and she remembers each body that she inhabits. So when she was with Hap, she was that woman, and then she left Hap because she did the little five robot dance and left an unconscious body on the floor,
Right.
because she'd called 911 beforehand. And then she appears to OA in the exact same body.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
How did that happen?
That's weird.
Because her body was unconscious in Hap's apartment.
So is she able to travel to a world of her choosing? Because if she go to one and then travel back into the same body that was unconscious, redress it and go find a way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think? What happened there?
Which leads me to one of my questions is, when you travel to other worlds, as shown by the other groups, you infiltrate that person's body.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, you have like almost a split personality thing. But as we saw when Owe and Nina came together and worked as one, you have almost these two identities become one person.
Yeah.
So if you're traveling to other worlds, are you going to have many identities all in one body?
Gonna get complicated.
It's going to get crowded.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the dominant one? Reminds me of
How do you
Glass.
know who you are?
Because Glass, that we have that character who has got 13
Yeah.
personalities and one dominant one,
Etc.
kind of.
Well, his original
Yeah,
identity.
the
of who
original
he was.
identity. But what does that mean going forward? It is really fun for the actors to play.
Yeah.
They get to play so many different versions of themselves. But who's in charge? Or do they form a new personality to be one?
It's an interesting question.
Do you take on all the skill as well? Because it does seem that way.
It does seem that
You
way.
know all the moments and the emotions and the things that they knew and the language.
Could be very handy. Could be very handy.
And then talking about their end sequence.
The end sequence was amazing, and so, like, I love the fact that they have brought back the theme of ambulance chasing from the first season.
Full circle.
Full circle, yeah. So we've got OA in an ambulance again with, you know, the kid chasing after her. This time he catches the ambulance and he jumps inside, and I just thought that was just an amazing moment because from what we had already understood, I kind of thought that it was only safe for BBA to
Yeah.
travel.
Yeah.
So how did he end up not just it's like he did a giant
bypassed.
he bypassed
Yeah.
the universe that OA was in, that they were trying to help her in, and jumped to where she currently was in
Yeah.
the ambulance.
And then also knew Hap.
Yeah. So that was a really nice little cliffhanger to end it on.
Yeah. And what I loved about his character is he's been wanting to travel
Yes.
from the beginning.
Yeah, he's
been
a true believer.
True believer.
Yeah.
He was the one, when the kid was ODing, he was there doing his movements for hours.
Yeah.
When they done it for hours and they left, he jumped out of the car, went back and tried to save their
Yeah.
friend's life.
Yeah.
True believer. So the
Yeah.
fact that he manages to get there in the end, you're like, yeah, come on. And you know he's going to protect her because he was
Yeah.
like always just for OA. I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do with this in the future. Hopefully, we don't have to wait 2.5 years because I was corrected. It wasn't a year and a half. It was 2.5 years we waited.
No.
Yeah, 2016.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, so I really
Wow.
hope it's next year rather than 2.5 years. It's
Yeah.
so good. I understand why it takes that long because, as you can see, it's so complicated.
Complicated.
Every time we talk, I make up a new word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
It's so complicated. So let us know in the comments below what you thought about these spoiler talks and do chat to us.
Oh, I'd also like to know if you think it's going to have an ending. Because I'm still scarred by Lost.
Yeah.
And I don't want the OA to end up being another Lost. So let me know if you are hopeful or doubtful about this ever having a proper ending.
Well, according to the writers, they've got like 5 series that they've mapped out.
That's good.
So,
That's a good sign.
but yeah, we need an ending.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks so much for watching this. Do check out our other reviews. We've got loads coming up this week. I've been hard at work doing reviews, lots from Netflix. But most of all, until next time,
Live long and Tuesday.